What is expired film? Can you shoot with it? And is it even any good? In this video, I'm going to drink this beer. I'm going to answer all these questions. So please, stick around. This is a box of Portra 160 NC. And if you know anything about Portra 160 NC, you'll know that you can't buy this film anymore. Kodak discontinued. Quite a long time ago, in fact. Now, just because the film has an expiry date on the back doesn't mean that once the date has expired, you can't use the film anymore. In fact, I highly encourage that you do so. But when it comes to expired film, just like this Portra, there's a couple of rules that you have to be wary of as a new photographer of expired film. The first rule is that we do not talk about expired film. But seeing as though you're watching this video, and I take kindly to people who watch my videos, I'm going to tell you all of the rules of expired film, because it's your lucky day. Rule number 2, it's the luck of the draw with expired film. Unfortunately, you never really know what you're going to get until the film comes back from the lab. And that's because after the expiry date, the silver crystals that are on the film and just the chemistry in general degrades, and the lifespan of the film dramatically declines after the expiry date. So what does that mean? Well, if you shoot film that's expired and hasn't been looked after properly, you could get very grainy images. You could get weird color shifts in the highlights and in the shadows. Or, as is the case with some of this Portra, you could get little white spots that appear all over the image. It really is the luck of the draw, but that brings me on to rule number 3, which is keep it in the fridge. The cooler temperatures inside your fridge will extend dramatically the lifespan of your film. So if you do have expired film, put it in the fridge, man. You'll probably get another good 20-30 years, if you're lucky, out of all of that expired film just by keeping it in cooler temperatures. But that's enough about the technical sides of expired film. Let's go to Goldsby and see how this bad boy performs.
From my winter hell, I've got candles and candy. I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way.
As you can quite clearly see, there are some white spots in these images. Now, Willy Sheepskin, another fellow YouTube photographer, link in the description, also had a very similar issue when shooting this exact film stock in one of his videos. And my theory on that was that the chemicals that were used to develop this film were expired. But that was not the case, because shooting this film, getting it developed at a lab on the other side of the world, yielded exactly the same results. The weird white spots are basically a defect from the expired nature of this film. So, rule number 2, you don't really know what you're going to get until you shoot it. I noticed one of the strangest houses that I'd ever seen. It was like just a roof on a mound, and I think it's like a forest chicken hut or something. I have no idea what this is. If you know what this is, please let me know in the comments below. I'm still stumped to this day. It was just in the middle of a pine forest. It was a roof. I thought it was interesting, so I made a composition of it. It was basically then, at that moment, where all the clouds passed over the forest and the sun reared its beautiful golden hour head, and the entire landscape just changed. So I lined up Sonia in some sunlight with my tiny human, and I tried to see how this Portra handled portraits. And let me tell you, quite well. The first one I shot at like, I think it was 1/30th of a second, and this was all handheld, so I instantly realized that I messed up a shot, and I took it again, and sadly the expressions weren't the same and I lost the magic of the portrait, which brings me on to the fourth and final rule of expired film. Don't be precious, shoot the shit. Because it doesn't cost that much and because it is expired, so you never know what you're going to get, just shoot it. If you second guess one of your compositions, or if you're not sure whether to shoot it, just pull the trigger, man. It's expired. At the beginning of the video, I made an image of a shed, which was now all of a sudden blazed in sunlight. So I ran back to the shed to try and see if I could do a follow-up image with the shed in sunlight, and I was incredibly surprised with the results. And I think this might be my favorite image from the entire shoot.
A place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse.
While I was there though, I was amazed at the look of the lake and how everything was just on fire in the golden sunshine. And I thought that there must be another composition here somewhere that I wasn't really thinking about. And I remembered the old granary that was across the way. I took this one, which I thought was going to be my favorite from the roll, but it didn't exactly turn out to be my favorite. I think the one of the shed was a little bit better composition wise. If I had a longer lens on the Mamiya, I would have been able to frame a lot more of the old granary in the shot, and I thought that, you know, that kind of would have been a better shot. But I'll take this wide one any day of the week. Now, if you're counting the amount of shots, there are still 2 pictures unaccounted for. And these I took at Loch Ness, which is one of the biggest lakes in Scotland and the famous home of the Loch Ness monster. So one day Sonia and I went looking for it. We drove all the way around the lake, which is like 2.5 hours, let me tell you. It's a massive lake. And I finished off the roll of Portra 160 on the shoreline and up in the mountains. So how did you like expired film? Have you ever shot it? Let me know in the comments below which your favorite image was. And if you want more expired film, I made a video in Kloof all about expired film, which you can watch there. It's a lot less technical than this one. If you haven't liked or subscribed, I highly encourage you to do so, because next week I'm going to shoot the snow. And it's my first time shooting the snow and I'm so excited. I actually used Portra 160. So all of those little dots and specks will just appear as if they were falling snowflakes in a beautiful landscape. So thank you so much for watching. I didn't even finish the beer, and much love. See you in the next one. Sayonara, suckers. Oh, it's quite good actually.